mo fẹ́ máa wò ọ̀rọ̀ tó jẹ tí ń gbèsè mo fẹ́ gbọ́ ètò lóríṣiríṣi wọ́n wà lọ́lọ́kan òjọ̀kan ìròyìn tó kojú òṣùwọ̀n àtàwọn ọ̀rọ̀ àgbọ́ fi kọ́gbọ́n eré wọlé fún tẹ̀rù tọmọ tèwe tàgbà ẹ má fi para. Ìjìnlẹ̀ TV mo fẹ́ máa wò ọ̀rọ̀ tó jẹ tí ń gbèsè mo fẹ́ gbọ́ ètò lóríṣiríṣi wọ́n wà lọ́lọ́kan òjọ̀kan ìròyìn tó kojú òṣùwọ̀n àtàwọn ọ̀rọ̀ àgbọ́ fi kọ́gbọ́n eré wọlé fún tẹ̀rù tọmọ tèwe tàgbà ẹ má fi para àdànà kó kọjá mórí nǹkan fèrè bàbá rere káwí parí BGI TV we are the pace setters. Bàbá gbàgede ìmọ̀ tẹlifíṣọ̀n station tí dòde.
Mo kí gbogbo ọmọ káàárọ̀ oòjíire ní orúkọ Olódùmarè. Mo kí ẹ̀yin bàbá wa ẹ̀yin ìyá wa tẹ́ wà ní orí ìjókòó níbikíbi tẹ́ ti ń gbọ́ mi káàkiri ayé. Inú mi dùn láti darapọ̀ mọ́ àwọn sọ̀rọ̀sọ̀rọ̀ àwọn onímọ̀ àti àwọn akíkanjú ọmọ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá tí wọ́n ti ń ṣe gudugudu méje yàyà mẹ́fà láti rí i pé information is well coordinated and well passed to the Yoruba people níbikíbi tá a ti wà káàkiri ayé. Lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí mo kí wa o ẹ ṣé púpọ̀ o inú mi dùn púpọ̀ láti wà lórí ìkànnì ẹ ṣé púpọ̀ sà.
Ẹ ṣeun gan ni bàbá wa ẹ ṣe àdúpẹ́ wípé àpè yín ẹ jẹ́ wa ní agbára Olódùmarè agbára òjò Ọlọ́run jẹ́ kí a rí yín pẹ́ láṣẹ Ọlọ́run agbára Olódùmarè lágbára àwọn onílẹ̀ ẹ jẹ́ kí a bọ́ sí agbami ètò ẹ̀yin wa àmọ́ kí a tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ kí a tó bọ́ sí agbami ètò ẹ̀ ń gbàgbé wípé ayẹyẹ ọjọ́ ìbí olóyè Sunday Igboho lè tó wáyé ní ọjọ́ 11 oṣù táwa náà yìí ó kù ọjọ́ bíi ọjọ́ mẹ́jọ báyìí tí ètò ọ̀hún tí yóò wáyé bẹ́ẹ̀ láti ṣe 1 million rally léyìí tí náà tí ó wáyé pẹ̀lú ẹ̀yin ọba tí ẹ̀ bá ṣe ra tíkẹ́ẹ̀tì yín ẹ kàn sí àwọn tí wọ́n wà ní ìgbọ̀nù ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ sì ni a fẹ́ kí gbogbo pátá kájọ pàdé lọ́hùn-ún àwọn tí wọ́n so wá pọ̀ àwọn náà ní kálọ̀ kí bá kí wọ́n lè tú wa ká Olódùmarè yóò ṣàánú fún wa ẹ jẹ́ kí a lọ sí ọ̀dọ̀ bàbá wa Bọ́lárìnwá mo fẹ́ kí ẹ bá mi ṣàlàyé ara yín láàrin ìṣẹ́jú díẹ̀ irú ọmọlúwo lẹ ṣe kí lorúkọ yín gan kí ni àwọn èèyàn fẹ́ mọ̀ díẹ̀ nípa ẹni tí ń jẹ́ Bọ́lárìnwá Ọládìméjì àwọn èèyàn tún máa pè é bí àṣà Àjíà wọn máa pè yín ní Àrẹ̀kúnrúnmí tí ń bá gbà á àwọn èèyàn fẹ́ mọ̀ díẹ̀ nípa yín kó tó di pé yàbọ̀ sí ètò ẹ ṣé púpọ̀.
Ẹ ṣé mo jẹ́ ọmọ bíbí ìlú Ìbàdàn ni mo ti wá. Mo jẹ́ by profession I'm a biomedical scientist by training and I practice as a biomedical scientist and I'm currently the president of Think Yoruba First. I'm married. I have children, and I think basically that's the few things about me. And I've been in. I call myself an activist for fún ẹ̀tọ́ ọmọnìyàn tó bá ti jẹ́ ti ọ̀rọ̀ Yorùbá. I also ní tí mo máa ń ṣe jù òun ni kí a sọ̀rọ̀ nípa fún ilẹ̀ èrè bí ìran Yorùbá ò ṣe ní parun bí ìran Yorùbá á ṣe wà títí láé tí Yorùbá ò dẹ̀ ní dẹrú nínú Nàìjíríà. I think basically that's what I do in the short form. So mo gbé lórílẹ̀-èdè Germany, so wọ́n máa ní country mo wà orílẹ̀-èdè Germany ni mo fi ṣe base. So I think basically that's what I am. So ṣé mo gbìyànjú?
Ẹ gbìyànjú ẹ ti sọ díẹ̀ náà nínú orúkọ yín ẹ ṣé púpọ̀. Yorùbá ò ní adébísẹ́mọ̀ṣe àgbà ọ̀lẹ ni màá kọ́kọ́ mú ìbéèrè ọ̀hún ní onípele méjì. Àkọ́kọ́ nú ẹ̀ ó ní ìbéèrè ìjà tó parí láàrin àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá ìyẹn tí a mọ̀ sí ìjà eléyìí tí ó parí ní òkè mẹ̀sí eléyìí tó parí ní ọdún 1886. Mo fẹ́ kí ẹ bá wa ṣàlàyé ẹ̀ fún àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá díẹ̀. Báwo ló ṣe bẹ̀rẹ̀? Báwo gan ló ṣe parí? Torí pé Yorùbá wọn ní tí ọmọdé ò bá bá tàn irú ọmọ bẹ́ẹ̀ a sì máa bá àrọ́bá. Àrọ́bá sì rèé bàbá ìtàn ni. Ẹ ṣé púpọ̀.
Ẹ ṣé olóòtú. I will be mixing English and Yoruba language. Torí ìdí pàtàkì. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn terminologies tí màá máa lò while I'm trying to explain a lot of historical events are in English language. As one of the legacies of colonialism, a lot of the historical literatures many of us read were written in English language. So, tí ẹ bá rí tí mò ń sọ èdè Gẹ̀ẹ́sì, ẹni bínú sí mi ni, because that is the only way I can effectively convey the message and the historical facts that happened. Ẹ ṣé olóòtú, you asked me to give a little bit of history, like a summary of the Kiriji War. The Kiriji War is also called the Ekiti-Parapọ̀ War. And the term Kiriji came from the sound of the guns that were used during that war. The war lasted for 16 years and it ended in 1886. It's one of the longest civil war in the world. And the Kiriji War, which was the brutal Yoruba civil war, where the entire Yoruba land was at war. It happened in the 19th century. What is the 19th century? The 19th century was a century between the 1800s and the 1899. I call that period, that century, the century of blood and iron. Just like the Chinese call the 19th century the century of humiliation, I call the 19th century the century of blood and iron, the century of chaos, the century of warlords, the century of anarchy, the century of humiliation, the century that the Yoruba nation seeks to exist as a Yoruba nation, the century that the Yoruba people lost their sovereignty in the world. That was the period that we had the Civil War. Àwọn Yorùbá dẹ̀ máa ń pa òwe kan tó ṣe bí òwe ìbáwọn àgbàlagbà. Wọ́n ní tọ́mọ ìyá méjì bá ja ìjà pé kí ìjà burúkú tí wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní para wọn. Wọ́n ní ará àta àjòjì ló máa ń jogún wọn, yóò jogún wọn. That was what happened to us. While we were killing ourselves, inventing new ways to kill ourselves, when the entire imperial army of the Ibadan army was fighting against the rest of the other Yoruba kingdoms, other external invaders were strategically placing themselves to inherit and take over our Commonwealth and our resources. It was because of that war that we currently find ourselves dispersed into different parts of the world. It was because of that war that we have Yoruba people in Ghana, Yoruba people in Togo, Yoruba people in Benin Republic, and Yoruba people in Nigeria. Because we killed ourselves to the point that we did not have the ability to defend ourselves anymore. What happened in the 19th century? Why did I call the 19th century ní century of blood and iron. Tẹ́ ẹ bá lọ wo ìtàn Yorùbá dáadáa, ìtàn Yorùbá between the 1100s and the 1800s, it is almost impossible kẹ́rí ibi tí Yorùbá ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní para wọn, kẹ́rí any major war nílẹ̀ Yorùbá. In the between the 1100s and the 1800s, tí Yorùbá ò bá mọ bá dá òmẹjà, Yorùbá ń bá àwọn Nupeja. Tí Yorùbá ò bá mọ bá Nupeja, Yorùbá ń bá Mali àjà. So Yorùbá òun, we had a period of peace, and there was a stability amongst the Yoruboid people. Kí ni mo mean by Yoruboid people? Or the Ile-Ife descendants. The Yoruboid people were people that are linguistically and ethno-linguistically related, that had Ile-Ife as a single source of their ancestral heritage. But something happened. Gbogbo apáta la mọ̀ ìtàn Àfọ̀njá àti Álímì nílọrin. Lédè kan kúkúrú, the strongest political, military, and soft power in the entire Yoruba-speaking world during that time, which was the Oyo Empire, collapsed. Bí Oyo Empire ṣe collapse, Oyo Empire ló maintain stability, ló maintain peace and tranquility in the northern part borders of Yoruba land, in the eastern borders of Yoruba land, in the southern border of Yoruba land, and even in the western borders of Yoruba land. Bí Oyo Empire ṣe fọ́, tí Oyo Ilé wà totally destroyed, hell was let loose, and there was a period that ṣẹ́mọ̀ ẹ wo ogun tó ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Syria, tó jẹ́ pé gbogbo ayé wá di pé close to 2 million refugees left Syria to go and stay, to go and dwell in Germany. Ẹ wo bí ogun ṣe ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Lebanon, tó jẹ́ pé we have more Lebanese living outside Lebanon than before. Tí ogun kú Ọ̀yọ́lé, Legba declare independence, Dahomey declare independence, Nupe declare independence. A lot of smaller nations and kingdoms, Ilorin declare independence, and hell was let loose. And when this happened, there was a lot of internal war, and there was a lot of demographic changes. Kí ni mo mean by demographic changes? Gbogbo bí tá ń pè ní ilẹ̀ Ìbàdàn lónìí, àwọn Ẹ̀gbá, Òwu àti Ìjẹ̀bú ló wà ń bẹ̀, in the different sections and zones within Ibadan. So nígbà tí àwọn refugee tí wọ́n ń sá bọ̀, ṣé mọ̀ pé tógun lé wọn ní Ọ̀yọ́lé, ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ìlú ni wọ́n parun. Tẹ́ pé different àwọn Nupe, ó kálukú declare independence. And a lot of Yoruba people had to run away from their ancestral homelands. Nígbà tó dẹ̀ ń bọ̀, òun ló fà tí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ìlú bí Ìbàdàn, ìlú bí Modákẹ́kẹ́, ìlú bí Ọdí-Òmu, ìlú bí ìlú wo tún nìyẹn ná? A lot of cities, Ìjàyè, that was where many of these cities were formed. They were refugee cities. So Modákẹ́kẹ́ ni, Ọdí-Òmu ni, even some part of Apomu, a part of Edo-Abon, a part of Ìjàyè, gbogbo àwọn ìlú yẹn, ìlú refugee ogunléndé ni ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ìlú yẹn. Àwọn tí wọ́n sá ní ogun ni, àwọn tí wọn ò kú sógun ni, àwọn tí wọn ò tàlérú sógun ni. So when a lot of these refugees were coming, they were changing, wọ́n lọ settle sí Ìbàdàn, wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí change the political structure, wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní change the demography, àwọn ìlú tó yí wọn ká. So the Oyo people that came to settle, that met the Ife, Ijebu, and other Yoruba groups already in Ibadan. I don't want to cut, after the Danamu War, they took over the political structure of Ibadan. And that was how Ibadan transmuted into the first military republic in the history of Sub-Saharan Africa. Ibadan is a military republic. So Ibadan became a military republic, and Ibadan started trying to replace the Oyo Empire as the biggest political and military power in the Yoruba-speaking world. Ibadan was competing with the likes of Ilorin, which was a Yorubanized Islamic city-state, and Ibadan was competing with the likes of Ijayi, which was another powerful militaristic Yoruba city-state that was ruled by Kurumi, who was an Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò. So Ibadan defeated the Oyo and the Ilorins in 1840 at the Battle of Osogbo, and totally annihilated the Ijayi in 1861 and between 1861 and 1862. So Ibadan became the most powerful state, the most powerful military power in the Yoruba-speaking world, and Ibadan started expanding. It started expanding after annexing the entire tributary state of Ijayi towards the west. Ibadan started expanding towards the east and annexed the Ekiti city-states, the Akure, the Ijesha city-states. Ibadan even got as far as Ifon and even some parts of current-day Edo states. So Ibadan built another Ibadan empire. They built another Yoruba empire. It was an militaristic empire, which was a form of a Roman republic. That was what Ibadan built. So it was during this period that the intricacies, I don't want to go deep, Fabunmi Okemesi, Ogedengbe Agbogungboro, and Aruta, and all these other fighters, generals of Ekiti Ijesha extraction, also rebelled and started fighting against Ibadan, so that they can get their freedom. But I also talk about the geopolitical realities of what happened in that war. Shari Ogun Kirijiyan Oyekoto 16 years. And Opolopo Ogun, I will start from the Ijayi War. Shari ní ilẹ̀ Yorùbá, tí a bá fẹ́ kí ogun ó kó ilẹ̀ Yorùbá, a gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ kí àjòjì kó mọ dá sí politics wa. Gbogbo bí mo ṣe sọ pé millions of Yorùbás ló perish ní 19th century. There was something constant. If you look deep into many of the damages that happened in the 19th century, many of the damages that happened in the 19th century was that there were people with an external agenda tí wọ́n fẹ́ lo any chaos to their political advantage nílẹ̀ Yorùbá, wọ́n dẹ̀ succeed. Ṣé ọ̀rọ̀ Alimi ni àbí Àfọ̀njá? Alimi fẹ́ ó ń wá agbára, ó dẹ̀ ń support Àfọ̀njá láti máa bá ọmọ ọ̀dọ̀ àwọn ọmọ ẹ̀yìn ẹ̀ tí ẹ jà. Nígbà tí Àfọ̀njá succeed, táfọ̀njá declare independence Ìlọrin, kí l'Álímì ṣe? Ó gbẹ̀yìn gbẹbọjẹ́ ni, ó fi èwú gbàbùkún ni. Ẹ bá wo the same thing pẹ̀lú tó ṣẹlẹ̀ níbi ogun Ìjàyè àti Ìbàdàn. Ogun Ìjàyè àti Ìbàdàn, we knew it was a constitutional issue. Nígbà tí Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò Kúrúnmí sọ pé according to the constitution of the Ọ̀yọ́ empire, wọ́n gbọ́dọ̀ pa àrẹ̀mọ ọba pẹ̀lú ọba tó bá wàjà ni. That's the constitution of ancient Ọ̀yọ́. As brutal as it was to curtail the misuse and abuse of power and to ensure pé the best person ló yìí máa jà sí Aláàfin of Ọ̀yọ́. Ibadan was saying that it was that the constitution yẹn mọ́. But it was bigger than that, because according to Tebaloka Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ìwé ìtàn, the British were looking for ways to destroy these powerful city-states. Ibadan was too powerful, Ìjàyè was too powerful. The Ekitis were very powerful. The Jebus was too powerful. The Edas were too powerful. Literally. Torí gbogbo àwọn ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ìpátá ni wọ́n ti ra nǹkan ogun látọ̀dọ̀ Portuguese. The Portuguese were selling guns and ammunitions to many of these Yoruba city states. So many Yoruba city states had close to 20,000-30,000 soldiers ready to march into war at every given time. So kí ni wọ́n ní láti ṣe? Because our British, they have a long experience in the modern creation of empires compared to the Yoruba people. Wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní arm one side against the other in order to be able to take us apart. British people, the British, after taking over Lagos, creating the Lagos colony, níbi ogun wọn pè ní ogun Awóyáyá, nígbà tí ọba Kòsọ́kọ́ àti ọba Akíntóyè tí wọ́n jà sí ipò. Ṣé mọ̀ pé torí pé àwọn ọmọ ìyá méjì ń jà sí ipò, ibẹ̀ náà ni àwọn British, àwọn èèbó amúnisìn, tìbí tán gbà wọlé náà nìyẹn tí wọ́n fi empower ẹnìkan láti bá ẹnìkan jà tí wọ́n fi rí Èkó gbà. Tí wọ́n kọ́ create Èkó, and they created the Lagos colony, which led after the bombardment on Lagos that led to the death of over 5,000 people, indigenous Yorubas, mostly Aworis. After they were done, wọ́n tún wò ó pé kí ni àwọn tún lè ṣe. Wọ́n lọ empower, they supplied Ibadan with guns and ammunition. Rẹ́mọ ni wọ́n gbà láti smuggle ìbọn yẹn wọlé fún Ìbàdàn. Torí ẹ̀ nígbà tí ogun Ìjàyè parí, Ìjẹ̀bú àti Ẹ̀gbá, they came together and said they are going to go and destroy Rẹ́mọ. Kékeré tí Rẹ́mọ ó gbà láti mọ jẹ́ kí British lo òun láti smuggle ìbọn wọlé, láti jẹ́ kí Ìbàdàn ó lè rí Ìjàyè destroy. And the British army marched from Lagos to go and defend Rẹ́mọ. Kaliba understand ibi tí wọ́n ti bẹ̀rẹ̀.
Ẹ̀yà ó dàbẹ̀ ni pé nẹ́tíwọ́ọ̀kì wọn ò rebete. Mo sì rò pé buhari ni àjọ ń gbádùn àwọn ètò bí wọ́n ṣe ń bá wa sọ ní ọlọ́kanjọ̀kan. Ẹ̀rí bí wọ́n ṣe ń bá wa mú torí pé ìtàn yìí ló yẹ kí ẹ̀mí àti ẹ̀ ló yẹ kí a múrò pé wọ́n ti padà dé. Ẹ tẹ̀síwájú láàrin ẹ ṣé púpọ̀.
So torí ẹ̀ ni British ló fi march sí Rẹ́mọ láti defend Rẹ́mọ torí Ẹ̀gbá àti Ìjẹ̀bú wọ́n fẹ́ lọ pa Rẹ́mọ rẹ́. So nǹkan ogun, finance, proxy war ni wọ́n ń perú nǹkan báyìí ní geopolitics. It was the British that financed Ibadan, helped Ibadan in the destruction of Ìjàyè. Nígbà tí wọ́n wá ṣe báyẹn tán, wọ́n rí pé Ìbàdàn táwọn mọ̀ help yìí, àwọn gbọ́dọ̀ wá solution sí Ìbàdàn. Kí náà ṣe? Ogun Ìbàdàn. Ṣé rí gbogbo pé nǹkan kan báyìí ló fà á? There will always be a reason kọ́mọ ẹ̀yà méjì fi jà. Ṣùgbọ́n àwọn tó máa ń wà ní background yẹn pé wọ́n gbà fún o tí wọ́n mọ̀ da petrol sí ọ̀rọ̀, àwọn gangan lè pọ̀ ẹ̀dá tó ń dọ̀gùn sílẹ̀. Ẹ wo ọ̀rọ̀ Russia àti Ukraine. Ọ̀rọ̀ Russia àti Ukraine, a mọ̀ pé issue wà, kò yẹ kó le tó báyẹn. But Western powers, àwọn ni wọ́n ń supply nǹkan ogun fún Ukraine. Àwọn ni wọ́n ń fún Ukraine ní aid packages 10 billion lónìí, 8 billion lọ́la, 20 billion lọ́la. Àwọn ni wọ́n ń fún wọn ní mercenaries pé mọ́ wọ́rí mọ́ jà lọ. Pé àwọn ni mọ́ wọ́rí àbọ̀rajé kíní fún ọ, àbọ̀rajé Russia jẹ fún ọ. Àwọn ni wọ́n sọ pé máa jó lọ kò wẹ̀yẹn. Russia á destroy Russia ni. Àwọn ni wọ́n ń ṣe gbogbo yẹn lẹ́yìn. Àwọn ni wọ́n gbé Ukraine lẹ́yìn naturally. Ukraine ò tó bẹ́ẹ̀ láti gbéná wojú Russia níbo. Àwọn ni wọ́n wà ní jòrò tó rò fi ń ké. Tí ẹ bá ṣe Western power ni Ukraine ó ti wà defeated within 1 year. The same thing ló ṣẹlẹ̀ níbi Èkìtì parapọ̀ wọ Ògìrìjì wọ̀. A mọ̀ pé lóòótọ́ it is not good because èmi ò ní support kọ́mọ Yorùbá kan lọ́mọ enslave another Yorùbá. But that war kò bá ti ní a form of a peaceful resolution if not there were external backing. So the British played a crucial role. In fact, after the war, Britain, Queen of England, ó fẹ́ sọ Ògèdèngbé agbógungbòrò, ó fẹ́ sọ di sáà, ó fẹ́ náà ìtẹ̀ tó gèdè Ògèdèngbé agbógungbòrò ní náírà o. Kó lè Ògèdèngbé rí pé ara àwọn èèyàn wa ni mo bá jà, Yorùbá ẹgbẹ́ ọlájọ bá jà. So kí ló tó fẹ́ fún mi ní sáà? Why do you want to knight me? But Ògèdèngbé refused. Kí ni the reason? Because bàbá yẹn understand of the damage that has been done nílẹ̀ Yorùbá. We were just a victim of circumstances. So they weaponized, they gave a lot of weapons.
Ó dàbẹ̀ ni pé nẹ́tíwọ́ọ̀kì wọn tó ti.
Fún Èkìtì to be fighting Ìbàdàn làwọn aṣọ wa nígbà tá a parawa.
So ẹ̀yin wa ó dàbẹ̀ ni pé nẹ́tíwọ́ọ̀kì wọn tó ti lọ. Ẹ̀yin wa àdúpẹ́ ẹ̀rí wọ́n ti bá wa sọ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ eléyìí tí ó ṣe kókó tó yẹ ká mọ̀ nípa tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Yorùbá. À ń gbọ́ yín báyìí, ẹ ṣé gan ni, ẹ ti padà wá.
So nígbà tí a parawa for close to 16 years ni Aláàfin of Ọ̀yọ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí kọ lẹ́tà sí British pé ẹjọ́ ẹ má jẹ́ ká para wa mọ́. Ẹ wá mọ̀ táwọn British wá sọ nígbà tó dé. This was the beginning of the problem. Nígbà tí wọ́n wá dé, wọ́n wá ní pé o tẹ́ ẹ̀ bá fi para yín mọ́ o. Every single Yoruba city state must surrender their arms and ammunition. Every blacksmith tó mọ̀ nípa nǹkan bó ṣe ń ṣe nǹkan ogun bí ìbọn must stop making guns and ammunition. Ìwọ tó yẹ pé jagunjagun ní ọ́, you must return home and go into farming. Bí wọ́n ṣe demilitarize ilẹ̀ Yorùbá nìyẹn. Bí wọ́n ṣe sọ ìran jagunjagun dìran ó wà bẹ́ẹ̀ nìyẹn. Bí wọ́n ṣe sọ ìran jagunjagun dìran onípa tí nìyẹn. Bí wọ́n ṣe sọ ìran jagunjagun di ìran àwọn tẹ́ pé wọ́n ti wá di tẹ́ máa gba létí ọ̀tún kó sòtì sí. That was the beginning.
Tọ́ ẹ ṣe àdúpẹ́ gan ni. Ẹ̀yin wa tí ẹ̀ ń wò wá ó dàbẹ̀ ni pé ẹ̀yin wa.
So this is just a summary. Mo ti sọ̀rọ̀ àwọn ìtàn gbìyànjú because of ibi tá a bára wa nínú Nàìjíríà. Ẹ má jẹ́ parọ́ tàn yín, kò ń ṣe gbogbo òran ló ní interest nínú development, progressiveness, modernization. Kò ń ṣe gbogbo òran ló ní the same level of social evolution. It is not everybody that have that same level of social evolution. Torí ẹ̀ ló fi wà difficult fún Yorùbá láti chati party wa in this current structure that bára wa. Because àwọn kò tiẹ̀ fẹ́ kí n tó jẹ́ kí Yorùbá lànà ò tiẹ̀ fẹ́ gbọ́. Wọ́n ṣá believe torí rádaràda ìran ní ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ìran. I'm not trying to be condescending. Torí ẹ̀ làwọn our political elites try láti ṣe Àmọ̀tẹ́kùn. And despite everything they tried to do with Àmọ̀tẹ́kùn, they refuse to allow Àmọ̀tẹ́kùn to be harmed. The question you have to ask yourself is this. Torí àwọn kan believe kì í ṣe pé wọ́n fi ń bí ó ṣe yé wọn bó ṣe yé wọn mọ́ nìyẹn. They are very very báwo mo fẹ́ sọ ọ̀dájú ni wọ́n. Wọ́n fẹ́ centralize in Nigeria. Torí ẹ̀rù ń bá wọn pé táwọn bá jẹ́ kí other different regions, geopolitical zones ní police wọn, ó lè threaten peace and unity of Nigeria. So èyàn ní lè ṣe coup d'etat kó mú jẹ gbogbo àwọn ìwà rádaràda tó wà ní Nigeria. Tá à ń gbàdúrà pé k'Ọlọ́run bá wa mú kúrò. So they would rather keep everybody under lock and key. So wọn allow káwọn èèyàn ní state police. Because with state police, local government police, ẹ̀ tó ń jẹ koríko yín, ẹ̀ tó ń dàlúrú, ẹ̀ tó ń jalè, ẹ máa mọ̀, all crimes are local. Because the central police is heavily compromised. Because àwọn kan believe pé Fulani Mali àti Fulani Nigeria ọmọ ìyá ni wọ́n, so there is ethnic solidarity. And so kò jẹ́ kí crime kò jẹ́ kó ṣe tackle ẹ long. Despite pé wọ́n dẹ̀ ń pa ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ lọ́nù Nigeria, wọ́n dẹ̀ sì fẹ́ hold on to this demonic system. So what is the solution? The solution is there must be state local government policing. The security architecture must be decentralized. And security should be what everybody should invest in. Ó yẹ ká wá bá ṣe máa engage our state governments in order to provide private security for our farms. To provide private security for our communities, to provide private securities for our town, our villages. I must tell you this, sir, brothers and sisters. There is no solution except we rise up and defend ourselves. And we must do it within the ambit of the law. We must do it legally. And we must do it appropriately. Come on, no. Because that was the reason. The reason for self-defense, a legal self-defense, that is why we have Àmọ̀tẹ́kùn. Tẹ́bàdẹ̀ wo gbogbo Nigeria pátá, Southwest nìkan ló ní a proper regional security system. The rest of the country they cannot do it. Torí Yoruba ló ní ètò. Yoruba ló ní ètò. So, ẹ jọ̀ọ́ nítorí Ọlọ́run, kí Ọlọ́run ṣàánú fún wa. Ibi tá a bára wa ní lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá. Pẹ̀lú tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní gbogbo Sub-Saharan Africa, Sahel. Gbogbo tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ Libya. Ogun Libya láti bọ́ sógun Sudan. Ogun Sudan láti bọ́ sógun Mali. Ogun Mali láti bọ́ sógun Burkina Faso. Ogun Burkina Faso láti bọ́ sọ́rọ̀ Central African Republic. Central African Republic láti bọ́ sọ́rọ̀ Ethiopia. Ti Ethiopia báyìí ó ti fẹ́ wọ Somalia. Ti Somalia àti bọ́ sí South Sudan wà ńbẹ̀. So gbogbo àwọn ìlú yẹn pátá, every machinery ló wọ Nigeria. And they are trickling down into our tropical rainforests. So we need to engage the nationalists, the conservatives, the socio-cultural, the traditional class needs to engage the political leaders. We don't have a choice. Kadewa and the others on how to defend our spaces. Because vigilantes are not illegal. We work using OPC and to protect villages, our farmlands. It's not illegal. So it's going to cost us money. It's going to cost us organizations. It's going to cost us mobilization, and it's going to cost us time. So bí a ṣe lè ṣe tí wọn ò fi ní fojú agbésùnmọ̀mí wò wá, òun ni mo fi ń sọ ọgbọ́n tí mo ń sọ lórí afẹ́fẹ́. and we are going to be seen as legal. Because even tẹ́ bá wo ní Zamfara, ní Sokoto, they have a lot of local vigilantes, ẹ lọ wo civilian JTF ní North East. So kò jẹ́ bó ṣe jẹ́ o. Olódùmarè ó fi mú àlàáfíà padà wá sí ilẹ̀ adúláwọ̀. Ẹ ṣé púpọ̀.
Dr. Sabin, tọ́ ẹ ṣeun gan ni adúpẹ́ ní ọwọ́ yín fún àlàyé ilé tí ẹ ti ṣe yìí. Àfi bí kí a má kúrò lórí ètò yìí mọ́ torí pé wọ́n fi ọmọ Yorùbá ilé tí wọ́n mọ̀ pé lóòótọ́ ó yẹ kí ìran Yorùbá ó yẹ kí a kúrò òní gbọ́ àgbọ́yé pẹ̀lú gbogbo tí ẹ ti ń bá wa sọ láti àtàtàrọ̀. Olódùmarè yóò sì wà pẹ̀lú yín. Ẹ̀yin wa tí ẹ̀ ń gbọ́ wa, dádì wa, ẹ̀gbọ́n wa, Mr. Mọ́lárìnwá Ọ̀làdìméjì tí wọ́n jẹ́ president Think Yoruba Force, àwọn ni wọ́n ti ń bẹ lórí ètò pẹ̀lú wa láàrin bóyá bí wákàtí kan ó lé díẹ̀ sísìn yìí. Mo mọ̀ wípé program ilé òkè ṣe àkọ́kọ́ àtúgbé wọn wá ẹ̀rí bí wọ́n ṣe bá wa yànnà náà lè tí ó sì yé wa dáadáa tí àwa náà tí àṣírí èsì fọ̀ sí ẹ̀rí pé n tó dáa jù òun náà ni kí ìran Yorùbá kí ó kúrò. Wọ́n dẹ̀ ti ṣàlàyé ohun tó yẹ ká ṣe. Ìbéèrè mi tí yóò parí ètò tòní òun náà ni pé mo fẹ́ bi wọ́n pé kí ni àmọ̀ràn èyí tí wọ́n lè gba ọ̀dọ́ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá, torí tí a bá ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ yìí a gbọ́dọ̀ ní interaction pẹ̀lú ọ̀dọ́ ní iṣẹ́ láti ṣe, torí pé ọ̀rọ̀ tó wà nílẹ̀ yìí àwọn ọ̀dọ́ òun náà ni ó kàn. Tẹ́kí bá mi gba àwọn èèyàn àwọn ọ̀dọ́ wa ní mọ̀ràn kó tó di pé ẹ mọ̀ dágbére ní orí ètò yìí. Ẹ ṣé púpọ̀.
Ẹ ṣé púpọ̀. Ìgbà wo ni a máa parí ètò náà?
Tí in the next 10 minutes a parí ìbàlágbà Ọlọ́run. Ẹ̀yin náà ni ẹ sọ bí ó ṣe yá wa sí. Ìbéèrè tó gbẹ̀yìn náà ni mo ti bí yẹn. So bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ṣe wá dáhùn la ṣe máa parí sí.
There is something I wanted to say. Tí mo máa rí pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wa we don't pay attention to. Ìsídà ká pay attention sí or a kàn máa ń fẹnu sọ ni. And n tí mo dẹ̀ fẹ́ sọ ni tá a bá ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa Yorùbá nation, ṣé Yorùbá nation Togo ni, Yorùbá nation Benin Republic ni, àbí Yorùbá nation Brazil, Yorùbá nation Cuba, àbí Yorùbá nation Nigeria? Ṣé a mọ̀ pé Yorùbá níbi tí wọ́n ń gbé tí wọ́n dominate tó yẹ pé àwọn ni wọ́n control city yẹn ní Brazil by here? Ṣé a mọ̀ pé Yorùbá party Benin Republic náà wà tá a mọ̀ pé ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ní gbogbo pio? Question ni pé kí ni Yorùbá nationalist sí Nigeria tá à ń ṣe? What is the place and position of these Yorubas of West Africa, of South America and North America and the Caribbeans in the Yoruba Commonwealth, in the future of the Yoruba race? Torí àwọn fi sọ tọ́pìkì mi yẹn tí mo rí pé bí mi directly yí pé the role of the Yoruba people in a multipolar world. Oríṣiríṣi Yorùbá méjì ló wà. Oríṣi Yorùbá méjì ló wà. Bẹ̀tà wá tá a wà ní Yorùbá Nàìjíríà, a máa ń ní ìgbéraga pé lẹ́yìn wa kò sí Yorùbá mi. Màá dá ìbéèrè yín nípa táwọn ọ̀dọ́ lè ṣe o. Ṣùgbọ́n mo nílò láti explain this particular part. There are two types of Yorubas. We have Francophone Yorubas and Anglophone Yorubas. Kí ni future of Francophone Yorubas? aftermath tí ogun Kírìjí òun ló dẹ̀ di pé wọ́n pín Yorùbá sí yẹ́lẹyẹ̀lẹ tá a fi di francophone Yorùbá àti anglophone Yorùbá wọ́n náà fi rí wa pín. So going forward a nílò láti embrace cultural nationalism láti ensure wípé agenda tí Yorùbá Sierra Leone bá ní ó ní agenda tí Yorùbá Nàìjíríà ní. Mo rí pé wọ́n sọ ọ̀rọ̀ nípa àwọn darandaran tí ó ń da ilẹ̀ adúláwọ̀ rú tán ní pé wọ́n ń pa ọmọdé wọ́n ń pa àgbàlagbà. Wọ́n á ní pé agenda kan náà làwọn ní. Ṣé Yorùbá Benin Republic àti Yorùbá Nàìjíríà ṣé mindset kan náà la ní ṣá economically, politically and socially? Mo rántí nígbà tí wọ́n ṣe coup ní Niger Republic tí ECOWAS was hoping that they are going to invade Niger Republic and restore democratic leadership in Niger Republic. Mo rántí pé Northern Arewa leaders, a good example was El-Rufai. Only an invasion of Niger Republic is an invasion of Northern Nigeria. Ṣé bákan náà ló jẹ́ fún ọmọ ìran Yorùbá? Tọ́rọ̀ Yorùbá la wá sọ ń bí o. Ṣé tó máa ní kán bọ́ǹbù Benin Republic lónìí? Ṣé ọmọ Yorùbá ẹgbẹ́ yín náà kan ni ó sọ fún yín pé ẹ pa wọ́n dànù? Kí ló kàn wọ́n? Torí pé ó ti sọ okun ọmọ ìyá tó so Yorùbá Togo Benin Republic mọ́ ti Nigeria. This is what Yoruba nationalists should be doing, even under the current situation we find ourselves. Torí ẹ̀ mo fi sọ pé multipolar world order bóò ni Yorùbá ó ṣe navigate ẹ̀. Tẹ́ ẹ bá lọ Brazil, Júù ń bẹ́ẹ̀ ó lè máa sọ Portuguese kó máa sọ Portuguese. Tẹ́ ẹ bá lọ Cuba, Júù ń bẹ́ẹ̀ ó lè máa sọ Spanish. Tẹ́ ẹ bá lọ China, Júù ń bẹ́ẹ̀ ó lè máa sọ Mandarin. Tẹ́ ẹ bá lọ sí India, Júù ń bẹ́ẹ̀ ó lè máa sọ Hindi. Tẹ́ ẹ lọ sí Russia, Júù ń bẹ́ẹ̀ ó dẹ̀ lè máa sọ Russian. Tẹ́ ẹ lọ sí America, Júù wà ń bẹ̀ á máa sọ English. Tẹ́ ẹ délẹ̀ Israel lónìí, ẹ bá Júù ń bẹ̀ ó lè máa sọ Hebrew. Ṣùgbọ́n mo lè sọ fún yín pé gbogbo wọn pátá, even though wọ́n sọ èdè míì, this is the Jewish identity, the Jewish agenda, the Jewish unity, and the Jewish self-consciousness and self-preservation. So, tá a bá kọ́kọ́ sọ̀rọ̀ pé we want a fẹ́ jẹ́ kí àmọ́ jẹ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá, there must be a form of solidarity across border. Because when we talk about Yoruba, Nigeria la máa dárúkọ. Here la máa dárúkọ. Torí ẹni tẹ́ bá wo the western part of Yoruba land, a ní peace ń bẹ. Torí àwọn ọmọ ìyá wa náà, àwọn níbi buffer on that back side of the border. Ibi tá a ti ní problem ni àwọn tó ń wá látòkè Ọya. Àwọn yẹn dẹ̀ ni is because there is no border, porous borders coming from war-torn area. So this is the reality we need. Torí ayé ti kúrò láyé 19th century, world power ti pọ̀ gan láyé báyìí. Russia ti have to be world power. China world power ni. America world power ni. France world power ni. Even Iran world power ni, regional power ni. World power ti pọ̀ láyé báyìí. Kò dàbí ìgbà yẹn tó yẹ pé unipolar ni. Tí Britain bá sọ fún gbogbo ayé ni Britain ní ayé fẹ́ in the 19th century. So bóò ni Yorùbá ó ṣe navigate this dangerous period? Tí yà ò ní jẹ wá gbé, tí a ní parun, tá a dẹ̀ ní bá ogun lọ ní àkókò yìí, because that is what we should be planning. We should, àgẹ̀rẹ́ àìṣe pé yóò gbé pọ́npọ́ ìníkan ayé ti kúrò báyẹn. We need a think tank. We need Yoruba nation people need a think tank. People that are intellectuals, that are selfless, that are ready to plan the future of the Yoruba race for the next 200 years. Atọ́kùn, mo fẹ́ bi ilé kan Dr. Zabi, Baba Omobori Owo. Close your eyes tonight. Close your eyes tonight, and I want to ask you a question. In the next 200 years, where will the Yoruba people be?
In the next
put that question into you. The next 200 years, where will the Yoruba people be?
By Yoruba nation, ilẹ̀ Yorùbá yóò ti dà bí ilẹ̀ aláwọ̀ funfun. Àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá yóò ti padà sí Nàìjíríà. Gbogbo ọmọ Nàìjíríà yóò ti padà sílé. Wọ́n visa bẹ̀ wá ni. Wọ́n visa bẹ̀ wá ká tó lè wá. Wọ́n bẹ̀ wá pẹ̀lú visa.
Àmì ṣùgbọ́n iṣẹ́ ni wọ́n ń ṣe débẹ̀.
Àwa náà ti ṣe débẹ̀ lágbọ́rọ̀ Ọlọ́run.
Ẹ ṣe. Iṣẹ́ ni wọ́n ń ṣe. Iṣẹ́ ni ẹ̀ náà ṣe ń gbọ́ mi ṣá.
Mo ń gbọ́ yín àgbọ́yé. Mo ń gbé yín.
Nẹ́tíwọ̀kì ló gbé Bàbá Omobori Owo kúrò. I'm pretty sure.
Mo ti ń gbọ́ wọn. Mo ń gbọ́ wọn báyìí.
Where the Lebanese Christians have become minorities. By 1948, by 1940,
ó dàbẹ̀ ni pé nẹ́tíwọ́ọ̀kì yẹn ń dà wá láàmú púpọ̀ lónìí torí lọ́dọ̀ tí wọ́n náà ó ń ṣe ségesège. Dr. Sabi, ṣé ẹ̀ ń gbọ́ mi? Dr. Sabi. Ẹ̀yin wa ti
20% of the life.
Wọ́n sílẹ̀ nẹ́tíwọ́ọ̀kì ọ̀hún.
Àti bí ìgbà ṣe ń yí. So a nílò láti di ojú wa pinpin. Ká pa ìrẹ́gbẹ̀tì. Ká pa gbogbo àwọn disturbances and let us intellectually prepare our future. This is what Think Yoruba for. This is what people like us are doing. And look into the future. If Nigeria is going to exist, what will be the role of the Yoruba people in Nigeria? If Benin Republic is still going to be existing, what is the role of the Yoruba people in Benin Republic? If Togo is going to be existing, what should be the role of the Yoruba people in Togo? If Brazil is going to be existing, what should be the role of the Yoruba people in Brazil? Same as Cuba, same thing as Trinidad and Tobago, same thing as Barbados, same thing as United States of America. This is what àwọn alágbára nǹkan máa ń ṣe nìyẹn. They don't react, they act and they respond. Gbogbo wọn pa wá, wọn ẹ má bínú omi ìbú wa, wọn pa wá o, ìyà ń jẹ Yorùbá o, is because we are not organized and we are not present. We don't see into the future and plan our future. We are not controlling our destiny. We want to continue to be victims. And we are not supposed to be victims anymore. Even though in a state of victimhood, we must stop acting as victims. We must be ready to suffer in this generation so that the coming generation will not suffer. So far, so good. I've not seen that in what we are doing. We need to do that. Now, for the youths, ẹbí mi lè rò kí ni káwọn ọ̀dọ́ ṣe.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni sà.
Rí orin Peter Tosh ó kọrin kan. Only you can't blame the youths. You can't blame the youths. Only you taught them that Christopher Columbus was a very good man. You can't blame the youths. Ẹ̀rín tí wọ́n kọ́kọ́ ṣe ní Nàìjíríà ni pé wọ́n make sure pé wọn kọ́ history mọ́ Nàìjíríà. Ibi tí wọ́n ti kọ́kọ́ mú àwọn youth wa nìyẹn, tí wọ́n ti bà yé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ youth Yorùbá jẹ́. So youth tí ò mọ history, tí ò ní knowledge culture, tí ò mọ̀ nípa heritage, tí ò mọ̀ nípa nǹkan kan, tẹ́ pé kò mọ̀ ju entertainment lọ, kó fi earring símú, ọkùnrin àwọn ọkùnrin ni o, kó dirun sórí, kó mọ bóra. Ṣé youth yẹn ló fẹ́ protect anything? Òun gan ni ó ní pé káwọn ọ̀tá máa bọ̀, kán destroy ilé òun. Wọ́n ní kò yé. And àwọn ìran tó dẹ̀ ti wà nínú àhámọ́ báyìí, táwọn ọ̀dọ́ wọn ti ya ìyàkuyà, wọ́n pọ̀ láyé. That is why we need to use the informal system of education and use social media as a tool to properly educate our youth, to engage our youth, and to properly start the revolution and the Yoruba Renaissance that is currently taking place in this 21st century. But it means it chance Yoruba Renaissance. So what we need for our youth is the mass orientation and the awakening of the Yoruba consciousness of our youth. The question is how? By making sure we disseminate proper history. We must do it. We must help each other and promote this identity, promote these contents, so that we can have a future. So that we can have a future. That is the only way. Because if we do not educate our youth about Yoruba geopolitics, about Yoruba history, cultural values, and identity, we are not going to have a future. God forbid. So, ẹ ṣé púpọ̀, thank you very much for having me. Ẹ ṣé púpọ̀ sir, ẹ ṣé púpọ̀ ma.
Tó ẹ̀rí Yorùbá ó ní tí abáró dídùn fún wa. Wọ́n ní a sì mọ ọ̀rá báyìí, a mọ ọ̀rá dé egun. Olódùmarè ló dá ìran Yorùbá bẹ́ẹ̀ ní ọlọ́gbọ́n, ìmọ̀, ohun òye. Mo kí bàbá wa tí wọ́n ti ń bá wa sọ̀rọ̀ láti àtàtàárọ̀, ìyẹn bàbá wa Bọ́lárìnwá tí wọ́n jẹ́ alága Think Yorùbá Force káàkiri àgbáyé. A dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín wípé a pè yín, ẹ dá wa lóhùn. A dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín wípé a pè yín, ẹ sì jẹ́ wa. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni wọ́n ti báyé history jẹ́, kò sí history mọ́, àgbọ̀ history mọ́. Ẹ̀yin wa ní agbára Ọlọ́run, a tún máa gbé wọn wá ní ọjọ́ míì.
Ọ̀rọ̀ tó jẹ tí ń gbèsè mo fẹ́ gbọ́, ètò lóríṣiríṣi wọ́n wà lọ́lọ́kan òjọ̀kan, ìròyìn tó kojú òṣùwọ̀n àtàwọn ọ̀rọ̀ àgbọ́ fi kọ́gbọ́n, eré wọlé fún tẹrú tọmọ, tèwe tàgbà ẹ má fi para. fẹ́ máa wò, ọ̀rọ̀ tó jẹ tí ń gbèsè mo fẹ́ gbọ́. Ètò lóríṣiríṣi wọ́n wà lọ́lọ́kan òjọ̀kan, ìròyìn tó kojú òṣùwọ̀n àtàwọn ọ̀rọ̀ àgbọ́ fi kọ́gbọ́n. Eré wọlé fún tẹ̀rù tọmọ, tèwe tàgbà ẹ má fi para. Àdànà kó kọjá mọ́rí nǹkan fèrè, bàbá rere káwí parí. BGI TV, we are the pace setters. Bàbá gbàgede ìmọ̀ tẹlifíṣọ̀n station tí dòde.